How's it going out there? This is Feed Your Mind, and in today's video I'm going to share with you some new information I came across about the firmament. And so I released a video on my Feed Your Mind 1 channel about the colors of the rainbow and if there's any connection to the firmament. So there's 7 colors in a rainbow, and I was brainstorming if it's possible that the different colors identify different layers of the firmament. Now I've came across actual information about this. So I've came across ancient biblical texts, and in these passages it speaks of 7 specific layers of the firmament. So this was in the Apocalypse of Abraham. And so this is an apocryphal book, and it's very interesting. So basically, Abraham had this experience where he ended up in the throne room of God. In this throne room, he saw 4 living creatures. They had like 4 heads, and they had several wings on each side, and the top wings covered their eyes, so they could not look upon the Most High. And so it's a pretty interesting description he had up there. And so when Abraham looked down from the throne room of God, he noticed 7 firmaments of heaven. Each firmament had different things going on in it. And so he goes on to describe where he said the stars dwelled. And so that's very interesting, because in our mainstream Bible, it says the stars are in the firmament of heaven. So according to this apocryphal book, the stars are literally in the firmament, according to the Apocalypse of Abraham.
And we rose on many winds to the heavens which were above the firmament, sky, theater of stars, the sphere where the stars are stationed. In the air, we ascended to a height that I could see a strong, bright light, impossible to describe. Chapter 19. And a voice came to me out of the middle of the fire, saying, Abraham. And I answered, saying, Here am I. And he said, Look at the wide places, areas, expanses, which are under the firmament, sky, theater of stars, on which you now stand. Notice that no other place, area, expanse has yielded the one for whom you have searched, or who has loved you.
And so that gives us some insight. I'd like to know your thoughts about that in the comment section. And now also he goes on to describe a different layer of the firmament. I don't know exactly what layer it was. It might have been the 6th. And so Abraham goes on to describe this other layer of the firmament where he said souls dwell. And so he went on to describe all types of different categories of souls. I believe some needed to be judged still, or there's other areas of souls, but there's one particular area caught my attention where the souls were yet to be born. And that's another interesting discussion, because I've already came across information in the mainstream Bible that tells us that the human is made up of 3 different things: a body, a soul, and a spirit. And there's other passages that says, fear not those who can kill the body but not the soul. Only God can kill the soul, it says. And there's another scripture that says the spirit goes back to God when your body is done here and your body turns into dust. So now we have insight on where souls originate, where they are born. And according to this book, everyone born comes from this level of the firmament before they're born.
While he was still talking, the areas opened up. Below me were the heavens, and I saw a fire which was widespread. There was a light, which is the storehouse, vault, of life. There was the dew that God will use to awaken the dead, the spirits of the righteous, those that had gone on before, and the spirits of those souls who were yet to be born. Judgment and righteousness, peace and blessing, and an innumerable host of angels, and the living ones, and the power of the invisible glory sat above the living ones. All of these were in the 7th firmament, on which I stood.
So that's another interesting thing discovered in this Apocalypse of Abraham book. And so another interesting thing about this discovery of these biblical passages that describe the 7 firmaments of heaven is, does it have any connection to the cosmic egg theory. So basically, like I told you in a previous video, that Norb's World had came up with this visual for the cosmic egg, where you can see that there's a inner circle where we live, and then there's exterior circles around our circle. So according to the Apocalypse of Abraham, there would be at least 7 layers around our known circle, and each ring would be a larger ring. And so they're saying that the planets that we see in the sky, well, each planet is actually like a sun for the outer rings. Now, the only problem I have with that hypothesis is that if it's just one sun going around an outer ring, wouldn't that mean that when that sun leaves your physical area, wouldn't it take a lot longer for it to get back around? So I would think there would have to be multiple suns on each ring level. So I came up with another hypothesis that some of you liked, some of you didn't, but I was theorizing about a possible level firmament, where the firmament above would be level. It'd be kind of like a petri dish where you can stack them. You can stack them up high. So you can stack 7 layers above. Each firmament would be level above and below. So with that hypothesis, you can easily have 7 layers above. And then some are like, well, what about the rainbows are shaped in a dome shape? And I'm like, basically, there's this concept that everybody has their own visual dome, so things appear in a dome shape according to our visuals. So anyways, another interesting thing about this Apocalypse of Abraham book is, in the book he discusses a possible 8th firmament.
And I looked down from the high mountain on which I stood, on to the 6th firmament. And there I saw a host of angels of pure spirit, incorporeal, without bodies, whose duty was to carry out the commands of the fiery angels who were upon the 7th firmament. Some translations have the 8th firmament. As I was standing suspended over them, and I looked down on the 6th firmament, and there were no other powers of any form, only the angels of pure spirit. I was standing on its elevation, and on this firmament there was nothing in any form, and no other host, but only the spiritual angels. I saw a host on the 7th firmament, and he commanded that the 6th firmament should be removed from my sight. And I saw there on the 5th firmament the powers of the stars which carry out the commands laid upon them, and the elements of the earth obeyed them. Chapter 20. And the Eternal, Mighty One, said to me, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said to me, Look at the stars which are beneath you, and number them for me, and then tell me their number. And I said, How can I? I am just a man made of the dust of the earth. And he said to me, I will make your progeny a nation as large as the number of the stars, and as powerful the power of the stars. And I will set these people a section, peace, for me is my own inheritance. They will be distinct from those of Azazel.
So according to this audiobook, there's some translations that describe an 8th firmament. And so that's an interesting concept, because I originally had this concept that firmaments could be infinite, but at least 7 according to the biblical passages. So let me know what you think. This gives us more insight about the firmament. It shows us that the firmament is most likely a more complex structure. It's not a simple firmament over our head. It's a complex structure with several compartments in it. There's biblical descriptions that there is possible windows in this firmament. There's documents that were uncovered, official declassified government documents that describe the brightness of the firmament. So there's a lot of aspects to this firmament. We see it's a clock system as well. There's a compartment where the stars dwell, and there's all types of aspects to this firmament. And so before we conclude, let's take a look at this last segment I'm going to play from the Apocalypse of Abraham. And this portion speaks of how Abraham had to look beneath his feet in order to see the earth. And also it spoke of the complex river systems like we discussed before. It talks about the abyss, which I've speculated is something in the center of the earth. Also, he discussed about seeing the Leviathan lurking around in the waters beneath and I suppose around the earth. So let's take a listen to this final segment I'm going to play from this book of Abraham.
Chapter 21. Then he said to me, "Look beneath your feet at the firmament, and understand the creation represented and foretold in this expanse, the creatures who exist in it, and the ages prepared after it. And I looked beneath my feet and beneath the sixth heaven and saw the earth and its fruits, and what moved upon it, and its beings that moved, and the host of its men, and the ungodliness of some of their souls, and the righteous deeds of other souls. I saw the lower regions, and the torment, perdition, in the abyss. And I saw the sea and its islands, its monsters, Leviathan and its fishes, and Leviathan and his lair, his realm, caves, and the world which lay above him, and his movements and the destructions he caused the world. I saw there the streams and the rivers with their waters rising, and their winding courses, and I saw there the Garden of Eden and its fruits, the source of the river that issues from it, the trees and their blossoms."
And so let me know what you think about everything that we covered today in this video. And so before we get out of here, let's cover one last interesting observation that I've noticed. So there's this religion that we can't speak of because, mainstream platforms don't like certain words. So it's the root religion of Christianity. So that religion basically has this religious artifact. It's a candle and it has 7 flames on it and it's shaped in kind of like an upside down firmament with 7 levels. So I found that pretty interesting. I was wondering what you thought about that. Maybe is that a clue? And so check out my playlist, Proof of the Dome Firmament, for much more information. I'll leave the link in the comment section and description box. Visit FeatureMind1.com for bonus videos, news, exclusives, links to my other channels, social media links, and much more. Please consider donating as little as $1 to help keep Feature Mind online. You can sign up on the YouTube membership, Patreon, or directly. All links are in the comment section and description box. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click your notification bell. This has been another episode of Feature Mind. Thank you for tuning in, signing off.